Well, hello, this is Rochelle and welcome to my channel. Today I'm using this printable by His Palette. They are worship cards and there are 20 of them, if I remember correctly. Yes, 20 of them. So I printed them full scale first and then scaled them way down to fit a large number on one page. So 16 on one page, where here it's 4 on one page. And I did this so that I could have them for various uses in the future. These girls are just amazing, awesome, and I think it is really pretty, fantastic kind of titles. It has verses on them, so you can share these verses or give them to someone next to the street or however you see it fit. I am going to use one of these in a journaling entry in my Psalter in a moment, so let's flip through to that. So first off, cut them down to size, and then I did round the corners just so that it has a different kind of look. I don't know, just something else, and not just a straightforward kind of corner. So there's that. And then once I trace this kind of outline onto my page, I do erase the hard pencil marks from it because I'm going to be working with watercolors and I didn't want to trap that pencil line under the watercolors. This is a Munyo 24 set. There is only 23, but that's just mine. And I'm mixing this kind of rusty brown orange kind of color with that I want to say cobalt greenish kind of color because it looks like the picture. She's got a shirt on like that, and then her hair and the flow of it is just like that. So really all I'm doing is kind of creating a background, literally just taking the two colors and putting them down onto the page in different directions and kind of mixing and letting the water pool in some places. This ESV Psalter or journaling Bible is a different kind of paper. It's very absorbent, so it really did suck in this watercolor extremely fast. It's not watercolor paper, so there are harsh lines, and that's okay. And then I just took some splatter or some of the leftover watercolor paint and did some splatters onto the page where the surface is still wet. It bled. Where it wasn't, it was just defined circles, and I quite liked that in the end. Next up, I do want to kind of create some of those baubles that are there. I don't know if they're like air bubbles or whatever they are. I wanted to recreate them, so I am just going to take that rustic brown kind of color, orange brown kind of color, and continue on with that. But first, with the theme of the circles, I did want to stamp some circles. So once this is dry, I'm taking these circle stamps and two Creative Retreat inks that I've got. The one is a mink color, they're pigment inks, and I'm doing some circles in that mink color and in various sizes, and then taking the, I believe it's bonsai green, and then taking those in various sizes around the page. It just kind of adds to the mixed media feel of these worship cards anyways. And I'm journaling in Psalm 20 verse 4, and it speaks of God giving us the desires of our hearts and also making our plans succeed. Now, I have a surefire way, don't know about you, but I have a surefire way of having these plans succeed, and it's when these plans have been birthed in the heart of God. So when I spend time with God, I can then figure out what God's plan is for me, and knowing that it's God's plan for me, obviously then it will succeed. So I'm also not saying be airy-fairy about it and kind of just, wait around until God brings you plans, but prayerfully seeking and planning, you will then know what God's plans for you are, and they will then succeed. Next up, as I said, first, some sparkle. We do want to have some sparkle everywhere, so I'm taking some Winsor Newton gold ink and I'm just splattering it onto the page with a splatter brush, and then also doing the same with a white Winsor & Newton ink. And this is a fan brush, small fan brush, so it just makes sure that these kind of splatters are fine and in that kind of spray effect. I am going to copy those kind of bubbles or baubles or however you want to call them onto the opposite side of the page, making this kind of flow into that side, and then repeating some of the imagery, and then also making it look like kind of a full spread, if you want to call it that. So literally just taking that, I think it's raw sienna, I don't know, it's an orange that I'm working with, and orange brown, and just making those kind of baubles, leaving a little white spot in the middle. If you forget to leave the little white spot in the middle, that's okay. Just use a gel pen and add it at the end. Taking my Tombow and then sticking down this beautiful image. It just melts perfectly into the page. I am going to take some Derwent Inktense pencils and just outline it, taking that same kind of burnt sienna color to then outline this, and taking a aqua brush to just give it some definition, watercolor definition. This is an ink pencil, so once the ink is dry, it is permanent, so once you've wet it, you won't be able to blend it afterwards again, and especially not on this paper. So there's that. And then taking that gold ink and just taking what's in the lid and kind of adding just a little bit of a highlight to some of those circles on this page, and that just adds that kind of bling that you want to put in extra. Yes, that's the dog. There has been no quiet time for any kind of voiceovers in this place. Taking my gold gel pen and just outlining the verse and calling it a page. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.